where do we start? Where do we start? Where do we start? Saturday night, I mean, we all know what happened. I don't even know how to put into words entire moment and everything. But I guess to sum everything up, I was confused. First thing I'm thinking, Anthony Davis, our best player, traded to the Mavericks with Max Christie in the first round pick. And then I look over and I see it was for Luka. Luka? Trying to explain this to somebody else, it's like, this just doesn't happen. You have a 25-year-old superstar that is literally about to enter his prime. He was not in his prime yet. They say your prime year has pretty much started 27. He's 25 and already has been an MVP candidate pretty much every year in the last, 3-4 years. And you trade him for an older player that, no disrespect to Anthony Davis, because literally like my favorite player on the Lakers team by far. I think without him, we had no chance. And with him like dedicating himself to playing and making sure he's playing in almost every game, I had a huge amount of respect for him, and I'm gonna miss it. But to get Luka in return, I was like, okay, so you pair Luka with LeBron, you pretty much take away our best player. But I mean, we didn't even have to cut our bench and our starting lineup to get LUKA Doncic. I don't know. So we're gonna watch a video today that hopefully explains the exact reason why Luka got traded. We're gonna give our takes and our reactions on it throughout the video. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. This is a good one. Let's get right into it. Let's go.
Why did the Mavericks trade prime Luka for AD and 1 pick? Why didn't they ask every team for their best package? Why do it now and not wait for the summer? Tristan Thompson said Luka getting traded from Dallas has to have a deeper story behind it, and he's right. So the details are the Lakers get Luka, Maxi Kleber, Markieff Morris. Mavs get AD, Max Christie, the Lakers first, and the Jazz have to be a third team in here to make it work. They get Jalen Hood-Schifino in 2 seconds. Now, before we get to why this happened.
Let's pause there. Let's just think this through. How does the Lakers do this? I can't. How do they do this? And now you hear that Nico Harrison, one of his greatest accomplishments was getting Kobe from Adidas to Nike. Rob Pelinka, the GM for the Lakers, obviously most notably was Kobe Bryant's agent. So there's a relationship there, which is why they made that late night phone call, or the phone call has been happening for so much time. I was able to pull this off with literally nobody knowing, and he didn't even open him up to the market. They just was like, we want Anthony Davis, let's make it happen.
Luka is going to pair up with his idol LeBron James in LA. So the Lakers go from plus 5,000 to win the West to plus 950, meaning they jumped over the Mavs, Rockets, Clippers, and Grizzlies, behind now just Denver and OKC. This is an amazing trade for LA, but pretty suspicious. They get a 25-year-old MVP candidate for 32-year-old AD and Max Christie. Don't even have to give up all their first-round picks. Something is going on here. Reports say that LeBron had no idea about this trade. He was out to dinner with his family after beating the Knicks in New York. The Suns and Blazers were playing at the time, and a fan yelled out to Devin Booker, and Book said back, "You mean Luka Garza?" Like, he figured the fan was wrong. Shams had to tweet, "This is 1,000% real," basically saying my account wasn't hacked.
Do y'all believe LeBron didn't know? Knowing that Rich Paul represents Anthony Davis and, of course, represents LeBron. I don't know.
Because the only other time an MVP type was traded this young was AD in 2019 because he demanded a trade. Multiple reports say Luka did not demand a trade. He wanted to be there. Dude was up for a Supermax extension in Dallas this summer. Did they think he wouldn't sign it so they would trade him now? No. This has never happened before, so why? Well, ESPN says that the Mavs GM Nico Harrison picked up the phone and he called the Lakers' Rob Pelinka. They knew each other for years through Kobe. Nico could trust Pelinka to keep this quiet. The Mavericks were motivated to move Doncic because of his constant conditioning concerns. There had been significant frustration about Luka's lack of discipline regarding his diet and conditioning, which team sources considered a major factor in his injury issues. We all know that Luka looks fat.
Let's touch on that. Here's my pushback, right? I get it. You got to take care of yourself as a professional. But also as a team, wouldn't you think that they would have to take care of their asset as well? Like, shoot, look what the Pelicans did. They put a weight clause in Zion Williamson's contract. There's things you could do to protect your asset too, to also be able to understand that you still want to get the benefits of having a LUKA Doncic on your team rather than just dropping him. I'm sure this can't just be the only thing.
Out of shape, bad defense, complaints to refs. Remember when they clinched the NBA Finals last year? Luka was celebrating with a beer and Nico Harrison swiped it? Look at Luka's face. We all thought it was hilarious. Yeah, not Dallas. Or when Brian Windhorst went off on Luka when they go down 3-0 in the finals.
His defensive performance is unacceptable. He is a hole on the court. His performance in this game is unacceptable, and the reason why the Mavericks are not going to win. He's got to get over this. And the fact that he came out after the game and blamed the officials showed me he's nowhere close yet.
Oh, fans ripped Windy for saying that, but you know who didn't? The Dallas Mavericks. They also think that his conditioning creates the injuries. Just look at Luka as a rookie. He looked like this. Listed weight 230, but this year he looks like this. This is a photo of Luka as of this week, okay? His weight, according to ESPN, is around 270, a 40-pound difference, and it ain't muscle.
Okay, that is a problem, right? So you got to also take a lot of this stuff with a grain of salt. Is all this coming out just for, like, almost to save face in a way for the Mavericks to say, you know, yeah, we just couldn't take his conditioning, almost to like slander him in a way? You got to take that with a grain of salt too. But I will say this. The thing that turned me off about Luka watching him a lot of times was the complaint to the refs. I mean, he doesn't even attempt to play defense. And I'm just telling him right now, as a Lakers fan, come into LA and you ain't playing no defense, which, by the way, we already are dealing with, and you add into a problem, and we just got rid of the one man that was the Bennett, like, helping that problem. Oh, it's going to be a problem. But you got to get this under control.
Dude has played just 22 games this year because he got a calf strain. And ESPN says when that happened near Christmas, the Mavs' reaction wasn't, oh man, what bad luck. Their reaction was, this is your fault. You wouldn't be injured if you were in shape. So the Mavericks are doing something that we've never seen. They're basically saying, we don't want to be the Pelicans with Zion. We don't want to be the Clippers with Kawhi. We don't want to be held hostage for years by a flaky superstar. We would rather take our chances and trade him. Normally, teams are too scared to do a deal like this, and they just spend year after miserable year with their star in and out of the lineup, moody as hell. I will bet that despite all their success recently, the last few years have been a nightmare for people who work in the team. Their lives were miserable, and they were like, F this, let's just move on. They are now betting that Luka will not be the next great player, that he won't win MVPs, he won't win championships. Instead, they're betting he is the next Zion. And this is why they did this trade. But it still doesn't explain why Anthony Davis, who is 32 years old and injury prone, they could have gotten more, right? I mean, Zach Lowe says a GM immediately texted him, what a terrible deal. You would think that the Mavericks could have gotten like 10 first-round picks.
Seriously.
They could have gotten almost any superstar in the NBA, right? Except for like Victor Wembanyama, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Nikola Jokic. That's about it.
That's the part that's so tricky, right? I mean, they literally are saying, here he is for nothing. Like, do you remember what the Lakers even had to do to get Anthony Davis? We had to get rid of our entire young core. None stayed. The entire young core. In the next 2 years after that trade, they were all dispersed around the NBA, killing. That's what we had to do. We just had to get rid of our best player and Max Christie, who in my opinion has a lot of potential, and a first-round pick. And we get to keep our other first-round picks. Like, this, I don't understand the approach whatsoever.
I think the Warriors would have even thought about trading Steph Curry for Luka. Not saying that they would have done it for sentimental reasons, but I think that they would consider it. So why didn't they wait for this summer and just open up trade talks, get the best package? Because they want to win now. The Mavericks don't want like 10 first-round picks. because they want to compete this year. And if they waited for the summer, it would have killed a playoff run this year. I think that Nico Harrison thought, look, if we open this up, we'll have our pick of almost any superstar except for those guys that I said. And Nico Harrison must have thought, but the guy we want more than anyone is Anthony Davis. So let's just make it happen right now. I'm not saying that that's the right thing to do or that's the best player for them. I'm just saying that's what their mindset was. So why wait? Nico told ESPN, I believe that defense wins championships. I believe that getting an all-defensive center and an all-NBA player with a defensive mindset gives us a better chance. We're built to win now and in the future.
He ain't wrong. He ain't wrong. Now, if you were, now this is being greedy, if you were able to get a player like that paired with Luka, different story. But Luka is still Luka. Despite everything that they've said in this video and despite what the media is going to almost push on him, he's still Luka. I'll wrap it up by saying this because I'm going to stop the video there. LeBron is probably the best person to help a player like Luka out, right? And I'm sure that was in the thought process of Rob Pelinka. They're like, listen, your concerns are conditioning and him being in shape. We have the greatest to probably ever take care of his body in probably any sport, arguably, on our team. So what does that mean for Luka? That gives you access to LeBron's trainers. That gives you access to LeBron's chefs, LeBron's nutritionists. I don't know, his therapists, like his facilities that he uses in Los Angeles. Every resource Luka now has at the tip of his fingers, whereas maybe in Dallas he didn't have a veteran that maybe took him under his wing and was able to do that. And the same could be said for a player like Zion, you know, things like that. You need help. You need guidance. And it's very much easy with the lifestyle that obviously they live to get caught up in a lot of that stuff. Luka's a foreigner coming from a foreign country to America. He's probably never experienced half of the things that he has experienced now being in the U.S. It's all an adjustment. The food is different. The partying atmosphere is different. Like, all of that is different. So when you pair all of that together, trying to, I guess, now don't get me wrong, that's the human part of being an athlete. You still got to be able to take care of your business, right? And at the end of the day, at his weight and height, for him to be gaining that much weight with the calories that he burned out and become a nerd, it is insane how much food he probably eats. I just say it, you know what I mean? And probably the wrong thing. So, a guy like LeBron, taking him under his wing, making him understand what it takes to win and get over that hump and to understand the importance of defense and those type of things will only benefit him. And as far as AD, I just want to say, man, I appreciate Anthony Davis for everything he's done for the Lakers. I definitely was, you know, I have my frustrations of, boy, every time there's something going on. And I felt bad for him because, you know, being a player, you know how it feels to be hurt and then you feel like you can't even get over one thing when it ain't something, it's the next, you know. But y'all let me know your thoughts down below. But for me, this trade is a clear win for the Lakers. A clear win. Because, I mean, let's say whatever happens in the future, let's say in the next 4 years, 5 years, let's say even 3 years, once the LeBron contract is expired, we have a generational point guard that probably will be there for however long we want. And now you clear up money if LeBron decides to leave. That could probably bring in some other really big names and really big players. So I think Rob Pelinka and them did a really good job of setting us up for the long term. But this season, them putting our odds that high to me is a little weird, depending on what else is going to happen. But I don't think this is the last move that we'll see before the February deadline. But I guess only time will tell. Y'all let me know your thoughts down below, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. Until the next video, I love y'all to death. Peace.